Ever notice how life's best stories don't happen in your living room? They happen on the open road, out on the water, or parked under the stars. At Progressive, they get that you want to focus on the experience, not worry about the what-ifs. That's why they offer quality insurance designed for your ride, whether that's a boat, RV, or motorcycle. Adventure with confidence. Visit Progressive.com and see how easy it is to protect your favorite way to get away. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in D.C. Prices vary based on how you buy.
As a small business owner, sometimes it feels like no matter how much planning you do, there's always surprises, like an urgent, expensive repair. But here's a surprise you will like. With Progressive, small business owners save 13% on their commercial auto insurance when they pay in full. So enjoy a surprise for once. Get a quote in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Leigh Douglas.
Hello, Fi. How are you?
Do you know what? I'm all right. I did just eat quite a large amount of peanuts, and quite a lot of them are still sort of stuck in the roof of my mouth. So bear with me. It's a good source of protein and energy.
Look at us being overly jaunty and hearty in our without really either of us knowing what to say, because we're here to talk about season 4, episode 13, The Long Goodbye. And I don't know that either of us are that emotionally well after watching it.
No. So here on Queer Gals Watch, we both watched this episode and then thought, well, this is going to be a toughie, isn't it? So this episode's kind of broadly going to follow the same kind of pattern as we normally do. But I myself have a grandparent who has dementia. And so I found this episode incredibly hard to watch and deeply upsetting. And I texted Leigh and I said, I'm not actually sure how much I'm going to be able to talk about it. So I'm going to do my best because I do think it's a beautiful episode of television. It's stunningly written. It has so many beautiful performances in it. It's its own thing. Like, it's a short film in a way. It lives outside of the kind of rest of the season, in a sense.
Yes, it's very a play. If anyone can hear her, I'm so sorry, but as we know, I went through a breakup, and in the bargain, my 2 cats went with my ex, and I have adopted a new cat called Katie, who's currently sat on my lap, and she is a talker. So if anyone can hear Katie, she's pissed off about something and she's letting me know. I just don't know what it is. Or she's just telling me about her day.
Katie has a lot of feelings as a young woman in this world. She uses her voice, as we all should. We just don't know what Katie is fighting for at this point. I'm going to start, because it is very a play, this episode, by saying it is written by a guest writer. This episode was not written by Aaron Sorkin. It was written by John Robin Bates, who is a playwright. He is also a screenwriter and a television producer, but started off as a playwright, and is a really interesting person.
Also, because there's not really a study session to do for this episode, we are just going to talk about some writing trivia sent in by our patrons and our Instagram followers. So I do just want to start with my first piece of trivia, that apparently this episode came into being and was written by a guest writer simply because Aaron Sorkin was getting a little behind.
That's amazing. That's so fun. So the lovely bit of trivia that I had about this one is when John gave the first draft of this script to Aaron Sorkin was like, this is as good of a first draft script I've ever read.
Wow.
Which
high praise from Aaron.
Yeah. So the quote is, the draft was so polished that Sorkin himself shot the episode pretty much word for word.
Wow. If we know a man who has respect for exactness in terms of wording, it's going to be Aaron Sorkin.
A little bit about Bates himself. He's a gay man. He had a long-term partner, Joe Mantello, in the 90s into the early noughties. Joe Mantello himself was an actor and a director, a kind of a Broadway icon, and actually made his acting debut, Leigh, in the original production of Angels in America.
Whoa, what a claim to fame.
And
so
he won a Tony for Best Featured Actor in a Play.
This man just trades in emotionally devastating pieces of work.
Yes. So Bates himself has an incredible CV. He had some seriously successful plays early in his career, working with actors like Nathan Lane in the 80s. Also, 1991 had a production of his play called The Substance of Fire, in which Sarah Jessica Parker starred.
Oh, of course he knows SJP.
Herself, a doll of Broadway.
He's a man about Broadway. Of course he knows SJP. Of course he's familiar with Sarah on a personal level.
He's also worked as an actor. He appeared alongside Michelle Pfeiffer in the film comedy One Fine Day. And kind of around the time that I suppose he's probably coming into the same sphere as Aaron Sorkin, in 2000, he wrote a Broadway show called The 10 Unknowns, which starred Donald Sutherland and Juliana Margulies, who obviously I love because she's in ER and she's my queen. He's also written work that's had Al Pacino in. He's just kind of a bit of a legend.
Just kind of casually a really big deal.
Yeah. So I was really interested when I started watching The Long Goodbye because I was like, oh, this is the way the dialogue is formed in this episode feels so different, Aaron Sorkin. And I kind of wanted to know a little bit more about the man himself. So that's a little bit on John Robin Bates. But to the episode itself.
Yes.
Now, from the title of the episode, The Long Goodbye, I knew that this episode was going to be heavy because The Long Goodbye is the kind of colloquial name that is often given to dementia and Alzheimer's.
Which, as previously mentioned, obviously your family is going through at the moment, and it's the worst thing.
Yeah, tough one. Yeah. Now, the kind of byline of this was that CJ would be returning home to Ohio for a high school reunion.
I thought hijinks ensues. I was thinking The West Wing meets Romy and Michelle. I was like, give it to me, put it in my veins. We're having a vacation episode.
Which I was really excited for. And I thought, maybe we'll be turning over some old stones.
Which we do.
Oh, we do. So there is some lightness and some enjoyment to be found in this episode. We open with CJ at a press briefing. And as part of this press briefing, she's saying that she's going to her high school reunion. She is going to be giving a speech on the promise of a generation.
Well, actually, she's saying she was supposed to, but she's not going to anymore for unknown reasons.
So CJ's decided that she's not going to go anymore. And she gets asked this question. Could you at least tell us what you think the promise of a generation is, since you're chickening out?
I'm not really sure, but like pornography, I know it when I see it.
Incredible. Obviously, the press pool are very upset because while she was away, she would have to be covered by someone.
And they are absolutely devastated that they will not be graced with Josh's triumphant, infamous return to the podium. Because obviously we all know how well it went the last time that Josh covered for CJ.
That was when she had her tooth thing, right?
Yes.
Incredible. In Josh's own words, thank you, I couldn't go out there. They had this sadistic anticipatory glee. But in my head I was kind of annoyed because I was like, so the reason she's not going is because Josh is I'm not going to cover you. And I was like, so you chickening out, Josh, is keeping CJ from her reunion.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I kind of envision it more as Josh was fully prepped and about to walk out on stage and got stage fright at the last second. And then CJ went, well, clearly I can't go. Clearly I have to stay.
She's being very avoidant, I will say that. And then in a moment of beautiful friendship, Toby Ziegler is like, no, I'm going to cover you. And Carol's already booked you a flight.
Toby is interacting directly with the press corps for CJ.
do you know how hard that would be for that man? Do you know how he would love to do anything but that?
Mm-hmm.
That's friendship.
Mm-hmm.
I was not prepared to be emotionally skewered by Toby Ziegler, but 2 minutes into this episode.
No.
Some lore. CJ's stepmother is her high school English teacher.
His wife scares me. The woman who takes care of him scares me. Molly, she was my high school English teacher.
I was like, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Can't wait to meet Molly.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the concept of CJ having a stepmother is very fun.
It does track for me, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I do say, CJ, hang up your phone. You're in an airport. It's a really stressful scene where she's trying to go through security, but she like literally won't stop talking to Toby on her cell phone. And I'm like, what are we doing here?
Also, you are like so recognizable as the press secretary. Like anybody could be listening into this conversation and like taking notes.
Yes. And then I got distracted because it said guest starring Matthew Modine.
Whoa.
And I was like, oh, interesting. Papa himself.
Mm-hmm.
On the phone, CJ says, no, I didn't mean that you have no social skills, Toby. I'm sorry if you think I was being insensitive to your... I think you're a very pretty girl, Toby. And she's saying this as she's carrying like an over-the-shoulder bag and a suitcase up an escalator that is broken.
Yes, I have been that woman many times on the London Underground when trying to traverse either to or from the airport. We all know that struggle.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like the sweat one gets up carrying a large suitcase.
Truly, and like also carrying your coat.
Ugh. We cut to Dayton. We have arrived in Ohio. CJ still on the phone.
CJ has no work boundaries.
I find this personally confirmation that she is a Virgo.
Which would also make sense because we've had it confirmed that Toby is a Capricorn. So that would make sense why they're so compatible.
Obviously, it's an episode of The West Wing, so it's, of course, pouring with rain.
Yes. Also, there's no signal in Ohio, is what we're learning.
Which is funny as a concept for like a world in which there just wasn't very good mobile service.
My mum and I were watching Oprah once, and you know when just something happens on TV and it becomes your own personal lore? There was an interior designer who was obviously of the queer persuasion who called kind of from the, I guess, home makeover segment that he was doing to Oprah in studio and said, I'm in Cleveland, darling. It's freezing. Which I appreciate as like an Ohio moment. And I've never been to Ohio, so that kind of is what Ohio is to me.
That's your knowledge.
Yeah.
We then bump into Marco Arlen's.
Yes, and this is Matthew Modine.
Yes.
And what would I know Matthew Modine from? I don't know that I know him.
He's a darling of stage and screen. He has been, if you go on this lad's IMDb, he has been booked and busy.
Right.
For his entire career. He is just like single episode in like TV shows across the bat, in popping up in movies, left, right, and center.
He is extremely affable.
Honestly. And I think he probably just missed the boat very slightly in fitting into kind of an Hugh Grant shaped space.
Right. Right.
But he, probably a lot of our listeners would know him from Stranger Things.
I never watched. It was too scary for me.
It's understandable. It was scary for us all. He's fantastic in that. And I saw him playing Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird, which was an adaptation written by Aaron Sorkin.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
When was that?
A couple of years ago.
Whoa.
I want to say it was a Broadway transfer. It came to the West End.
Before we started the podcast?
Before, I believe, yeah.
Oh, wow.
He was amazing. And it is a really great show. If you have a chance to see it, if it's on tour, it's a fabulous adaptation. Now, Marco Arlen's. Imagine, so at this point, we're thinking that CJ's about 37, according to the kind of the internet.
Yes.
Imagine you haven't seen this person since you were maybe 18.
Yes.
And he says...
Which would make sense because it's her 20-year high school reunion. So she must be like 38.
Yeah. Wow. You look basically the same.
Whoa, you look basically exactly the same.
Yeah. Okay, Marco.
It's a strong energy. I love how he's written.
Mm-hmm. Because it's not overly flirty.
No, and also then the following line is, I didn't think you'd be coming. I feel slightly so much better now. It's like he has his own adverbage.
Yeah, I really like it.
That I really like. That's like, it would have been smarmy if he said, I feel so much better now.
Yeah.
It would have been too much.
Yeah.
But there's something charming about the adverb.
Mm-hmm. And then CJ's like, I'm hearing violent femmes and thinking quaaludes in detention and tacos.
Quaaludes?
I know, casual. Fucking hell.
Just proving that, like, CJ was cool in high school.
CJ was fucking cool. He was, Marco was in a band called the Mollusks of Lust.
A moment to discuss the Mollusks of Lust as a band name. It kind of reminds me of my junior high school boyfriend's Sawyer's band, which was called Fringe Shift. It's similarly difficult to say.
It's so good. That's the thing. It's real.
Yeah.
He then goes on to say,
Mollusks of Lust.
Mollusks of Lust is so funny. And then like later on through the episode, sometimes when they're talking about like his band or going to parties, he's like, yeah, we just, the Mollusks had just done a gig. And I was like, this is too much. Marco describes CJ as being, you were the funniest, smartest, saddest girl in Dayton.
A wannabe Manic Pixie Dream Girl's dream compliment.
Yeah, huge.
That is how I wanted everyone to see me when I was in high school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like,
when I was in fact actually quite peppy, but like I wanted to come across as sad.
As a trio of descriptors.
Yeah.
Funny, smart, sad.
Actually, you were the funniest, smartest, saddest girl in Ohio. Like that to me, I'm like, oh, it makes sense that was written by a gay man.
Yeah.
As a line.
Mm-hmm.
It's very queer coded.
It is, isn't it?
Which is maybe why he reads as safe, the character.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of queer coded. He's kind of camp in the way he speaks.
Yeah, it could be. I like that. I subscribe to that.
Also, then CJ comes in with bringing up the fact that, like, because her dad and her stepmom were both their high school teachers.
Yeah.
So she brings up the fact that, like, her dad is now married to her.
Married to
And
Molly.
She describes her by saying her job is baking and hating me.
Which I really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
We meet CJ's dad when we arrive at the family home, and I know almost immediately that he's going to make me feel extremely emotional.
Yeah.
He is a whirlwind. Tell me everything. I want to know everything. Let's sit up all night and catch up.
It's just that as a line is so devastating because it shows exactly the man we would have met.
Yes.
Which is like so full of life, so enthusiastic, so supportive, so like, I'm fascinated by your job. And even though you're my daughter, like, I want you to, as an equal, tell me about your work because I'm so like into your intellect as my daughter. It's just like, it's so cool.
And he's like slinging Manhattans and there's jazz playing.
Yeah.
And CJ's like, oh, we're not going to wake Molly up. And he's like, oh, she could sleep through anything. And I was like, Molly's not upstairs.
Oh, this episode truly, like, between like my daddy issues and what your family is currently going through, it's like perfectly designed to fuck us both up.
Yeah.
Because it really reminds me of like when I went to uni and like my dad first started treating me like an equal and he like came to York and like we went out for cocktails.
Yeah.
And like talked about stuff. And it was like, oh, it was like the first time he ever was not treating me as like a little girl, you know, and was like, I want to hear about like your life.
Yeah. They go to the kitchen. The kitchen is like a state. And you can see CJ being like, what's kind of going on here?
It kind of
and
feels like maybe a woman doesn't live here.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to make you this like specific sauce. And he's like trying to make this sauce and he keeps lighting cigarettes and then like putting them down and she keeps like tapping them out. And the cigarette smoking thing, I was like, oh my God, this is so specific to, it's the having the thing to do and like playing with like normalcy and just like, oh yeah, I'm just having a cigarette. And you're like, there's more going on here. This is CJ's Emmy episode.
No, for sure. Oh, and my other piece of trivia is that apparently Aaron Sorkin said to John, who wrote the episode, who I think they were friends, said, pick any character.
Really?
And do like a standalone deep dive episode for that character. And he picked CJ.
Oh, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a good... Okay, I'm equally more obsessed now with this writer.
Mm-hmm.
This was a quote that skewered me.
Mm-hmm.
CJ says, do you think you might need more help?
Everybody needs more help.
Ah, my family's current predicament. It's that I think is perfect, right? Because there's a generational thing there of like, no, like there are people who need help. That's not us. You know, I don't need to go to the doctor. Doctors are for sick people. You know,
Yeah. I was also obsessed with the way that this scene was being shot because it made it, even though we're in a domestic setting, it made everything feel so dangerous. The way there was like close-ups on the match being lit, close-ups on the fire on the hob, like his lit cigarette. It was just like, it took me a while to place why I felt so anxious on top of just like the emotionality of it. And it was because it just felt like we were zooming in on every hazard in this space of how he could hurt himself.
And I think for me, that's like a beautiful piece of like television making in terms of the script, then like going alongside how the episode was shot and like what we were choosing to focus on. And like we were very much almost like CJ POV in that kitchen of her logging all of the ways in which her dad could hurt himself accidentally in that space.
Which again just makes me very emotional because I feel like, especially like your dad is someone that you never really think of as being vulnerable or like...
Well, the grown-ups in your life.
But especially a dad, I think. A dad of our generation.
Yeah.
It really, I think the cinematography of how this was shot, it just really was true to the experience, I think, for me, of suddenly being worried about that person for the first time. And then the way that you're suddenly seeing them as vulnerable. And therefore your eyes are focusing on different things than they would have in the past, you know?
Yeah, yeah. We do hear from CJ's dad that Molly has left. And when CJ's like, why? He just says, well, obviously this isn't much fun.
I feel unwell.
Saturday morning, CJ's on the phone calling Toby sweetie, but also telling him what to do. And I was like, I just feel infinitely more confident in Toby's ability to cover CJ than Josh.
Yeah. Because the bravado is where the press is going to skewer you because they're going to catch you saying something. Toby is the most measured man that's ever been depicted on television. Like, he's not going to get caught out saying something he doesn't mean. Yeah.
And he's like, how's things with your dad? And she's like, fine.
Yeah.
And I think you don't need to lie to Toby.
No, but she's taking a mental vacation from the reality of her dad's situation in work, unfortunately. So...
we meet Libby.
There is an immediate sapphic energy with Libby for me.
Right?
I feel they've hooked up.
They've at least made out.
For sure. The way that they like kiss each other on the cheek when they meet each other, there's an energy between you two. There's also something about the height difference between them as women that feels very sapphic. And then Libby says to CJ, you have to stop being beautiful sometimes, sweetheart. It's very lesbian exes coded.
I think Libby is Molly's daughter.
Yes, she is.
Yeah. So we're discussing Molly, and CJ says, I prefer to think of your mother as my father's third wife, Libby. Which has a level of sass to it.
Yes, but it also feels respectful because it also feels like, please don't take anything that's about to happen as me coming for you, Libby's mother.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
I'm not here as your friend. I'm here as my father's daughter. Do you know what I mean?
Then what follows is an awfully distressing scene where CJ
it's
kind of
horrific.
like calls Molly out for leaving. And then Molly has this incredible speech where she talks about how, you know, they had, before her and CJ's dad were together, they had this immediate connection and they both dreamed of being with each other, but they were married to other people. And how she'd invested in this life that she would be able to live with him one day. And then, you know, they have got together and they are together and she can't get to live that life that she dreamed she was going to get.
And I'm torn because I don't know how realistic it feels to me that a female partner would do this in this situation. I think it's
No.
possible. I don't think it's...
It's not possible that you would walk out and nothing would be put in place. It is entirely possible that you would call the children of that person and be like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
And now you guys will have to put things in place. That was the only unbelievable thing of the episode for me, was it's insane for like Molly not to call CJ and leave her father to fend for himself. But it's also weird, I think, if Molly turns up at her daughter's house and goes, I'm moving in, I've left him. Libby's picking up the phone and being like, CJ, are you aware of what's going on between?
Well, we did have a line from Libby of like, I've been trying.
Right, okay.
I've been trying to sort this. So I almost wonder if Libby's perspective is like, CJ is the press secretary for the White House. Like, if one of us is going to sort this, it probably has to be me because I'm physically here.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is I'm torn because, and this is where I sound like a man hater, but I think it's more believable that a husband would do this than a wife.
I know exactly what you mean by that, Leigh. And for me also, if you're looking at the age of these characters and the context, you know, of a woman of Molly's age would have, as a wife, more likely taken on caregiving responsibilities with raising children. And I think, therefore, a lot of the time that naturally would progress into caregiving as a grown-up. And so you think walking away from that when, as a woman of her generation, a lot of your identity is wrapped up with you stay and you make sure everyone's okay.
Yeah.
It did seem odd for me.
But then the reason why I'm torn is because I feel like for that actress at that age, that's a great fucking scene to get given to do. Like, that's a great scene to sink your teeth into as an actor. And I feel like often women of that age are not given that kind of scene.
Agreed.
And I loved for that actor that she got to have that day at work doing some really like meaty stuff where her character has been selfish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was torn about it, but a very powerful scene nonetheless.
We kind of close out with CJ really feeling like she doesn't want to do this speech at the reunion. And Molly comes in with a devastating line of, we were going to go and stand in the back.
That really got me.
To like, for like her dad to like see her do her thing. But we're going to go fishing.
To which I say, even if this episode is extremely dark, at least we got to see CJ in galoshes.
Truly.
I personally appreciated that.
And CJ's kind of trying to like mine her dad for information, and he's like asking her some stuff and she's being evasive. And he says this line, which I think is so perfect. He says, "Oh, sweetie, I know when young people lie."
Yeah.
And you're like, that's such a good line from someone who's a retired teacher.
Yeah.
For him to be like, well, I know when you're like trying to dance around telling me the truth. Like I've that's my whole career. There's such detail to the dialogue in this episode.
And I love the reverence with which we're treating the teaching profession in this episode.
Yeah, and so her dad is talking a lot about, he's writing a book. He is an ex-maths teacher and he's writing a book on the importance of maths.
We do then have a quote, which is, there's a whole chapter on women and math anxiety, to which I do have to say that was one of the few lines in this episode that did make me giggle, which is like, I fear if we're failing to teach women maths, that's not like a niche issue. That is like over half of the population.
Yeah. This isn't like a few people that it's affecting. He says that he hasn't like gone fishing for a while because like Molly was never one to like go to the river.
Molly never liked to go fishing. She considered it devilish. To which I have to say, like, do you guys have that much in common?
Yeah, like, did you just have a workplace crush and it all got out of hand? But then he starts, from that point onwards, he on a number of occasions calls CJ Molly. And then CJ's like, I'm not Molly, like I'm your daughter. And then he has a freak out where he can't recognize her. And he gets very agitated and upset. And then he's kind of having a meltdown. And in his meltdown, he says, and my daughter just abandoned me. Mothers, wives, daughters, none of them stay.
It's horrifying.
Yeah. And she like kind of gets him back. And she's like, I just want to, like, she's talking about how she wants to help him. He says, I want to go down in silence with my music and some grace.
It's devastating.
Like, he doesn't want all the fuss. He doesn't want to go to the doctors. And I think that's such a wonderful depiction of someone grappling themselves with what their diagnosis means and fleshing out a full character. You know, the character is written and the performance of CJ's dad is so much more than just the illness. And I think that's probably why I found it so affecting.
Yeah, I think we have to absolutely take a moment for the actor playing CJ's dad, because I think it's very easy to play dementia as an illness in a caricatured fashion, and this felt really grounded. And I think that's a really hard thing to achieve, truthfully, as a performer. And also, I think what was really incredible about his performance was he gave us also a really full sense of who this man would have been prior to his illness.
Yes.
Like, we got all of his charisma. I think at one point I made a note of the fact that, like, we see where CJ as press secretary came from within this man. You can see that she learned how to wrangle the press pool from watching her dad manage his maths class. Like, you can see that full trajectory as well as seeing a depiction of dementia.
Yeah. I think it's beautiful. CJ says that she's like, I can quit my job. I can quit my job and come and look after you.
And then he says, we sail, said Pascal, in a vast sphere, Claudia Jean, ever drifting in uncertainty, driven from end to end. I'd much rather see you on TV, darling, than sitting opposite me watching the demolition derby going on in my head.
I took a pause here to just cry for a while.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of like discussing like caring for people, it's nice to see a depiction of like someone being like I want to protect you from this too.
Yeah.
But late Saturday afternoon, we do go to the doctors, to a doctor that CJ's like, he's a friend of yours. Like, let's go and see him. Like, he's literally like, this is his bread and butter. Said doctor says of CJ's father, he's too smart. It's no good. He won't be handled.
I love that.
Which I can connect to deeply. The thing is, like, this was a point where I found the writing is so on point, right? Like the way in which Tal gets things wrong, but not completely wrong. So like there's a point where the doctor's like, you didn't recognize me, but you covered it. And I saw you do that. And then he like keeps from time to time saying to like CJ, like, well, tonight's prom. But he doesn't actually think it's her prom night because he knows the title of her speech and that she's giving a speech. That's the painful thing about it. It's these like mismatched moments. And the conclusion that he's lighting cigarettes and he's smoking because it's a moment of pause where he can work out what he wants to say next or think about who a person might be. That rang so true to me because I think as a person who is seeing someone struggle with dementia and with Alzheimer's, you see them they start off being so good at covering it. Yeah. And you learn how they're doing it. And I just thought that it was such insightful writing.
Yeah.
They get in a car to drive home. He like almost crashes the car. It's like really upsetting. And then there's such a simple shot, which is Alison Janney. She walks around to get into the driver's seat and she sits down and just like for like 2 to 3 seconds tries not to cry.
Yeah.
And I was like, give her all of the awards.
Yeah. Alison Janney is the promise of a generation. And that's all I have to say.
Yeah. He says, I need a little bit more time, CJ. If I let it in at its own pace, it'll just get dark faster.
And I can't talk about that.
No. But it's Saturday night. This is the night of the high school reunion and the big speech. Tal just absolutely playing the shit out of a piano.
Yeah. I mean, it is so fascinating, the things that stay with a person, even as dementia's kind of ravaging them. It's like, actually, if something is like in your body, you might not forget it because it doesn't live in your intellectual brain. It lives in your body. Yeah,
it's like what that illness chooses to like pick up and remove is like fascinating and confusing. And I think also I feel like you get a really good sense of like what part of the illness Tal is in that he's still like able to just like be like tickling those ivories and holding a conversation.
Yeah. But what I also love is that as he's playing the piano, he is watching Toby give a press briefing. And I would just like to take a moment for Toby Ziegler giving a press briefing, because it was one of the most valiant efforts I've ever witnessed. Toby is saying the same is true of the bailout of the iron industry. Nothing was said that has not consistently been said and is still not being said. And what's not being said is what's more important than what's stated, particularly by Congress. Toby is such a good friend.
He's such a good friend. And then Tal just like leans over and shouts up to CJ, "That man lacks grace and charm." Which is a damning review.
Toby, just a man at the end of his tether.
But CJ is heading off to the high school reunion. She looks incredible.
She looks beautiful.
And who's that knocking at the door?
It's a beautiful, beautiful man who is greeted by his high school maths teacher.
Yeah, which is kind of amazing. Like that little scene where Marco comes in and is talking to Tal, and like CJ's like getting the last of her things together is so nice, because it's very like I'm kind of taking your daughter out, but you were my maths teacher, but we're all like adults now.
Yeah. And this was the moment where I was like, you can see where CJ got her like press briefing quips, because one of the things her dad says to him is, "But fortunately, as the waitresses like to say, not my table." Yeah. And I think I will be taking that into my life and using it when something is just simply not my problem anymore. I'm just going to say, it's not my table.
And he says, he also says, "You're no longer a rabid punk rocker, I see."
What is Tal short for, do we feel?
I don't know, actually.
Oh, it's a name in and of itself. It can be short for Talbert.
That could happen.
But it is a Hebrew unisex name meaning dew or morning dew.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. The other notable interaction with Marco is, "I remember the detention and the ditchings and the low test scores and your imperviousness to algorithms. Let's get you a drink."
Scotch.
"You were better looking with a mohawk, son."
He's so shady in the best way.
And then so there's this whole thing about Marco is like a watch specialist. We also find out he went to prison.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like an crazy but amazing backstory moment.
For insider trading?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Tal gets out his own watch and he's like, "I'm losing time."
Oh.
And then Marco starts taking the watch apart to fix to see what the problem is, which is kind of a very lovely moment. And Tal's being quite open about the fact that he's dealing with his illness. And just really offhandedly, he just picks up a photo and he's I can't remember who this is.
And it's a childhood photo of CJ.
Yeah. And that was another pause for me for more crying. Because when that moment happens for the first time, you can't show how much that breaks your heart to be a stranger to someone, because you don't want to upset them. And Marco just deals that moment so perfectly, and he just but he's well, should we get going then, CJ?
Yeah.
But he's not evading the emotion of the moment. He's I think you might like to be taken out of this environment.
Yeah, because CJ has walked out of the room and he kind of covers for her with her dad.
When they leave to go to the reunion, I'm oh, something terrible is going to happen to Tal while they're at the reunion.
I was out of my mind by this point. I was the house is going to burn down. We've had too many close-ups of fire in various forms for the house not to burn down. I was we had a zoom in on a gas hob. The house is going to burn. CJ's childhood home is going to burn.
We pull up outside of the reunion, and just the two of them in the car being God, anything not to go into this reunion. It's so connective to I couldn't do it. God, I couldn't. I don't think I could.
No. I mean, yeah, things are going fine for me. I just don't know that I could walk into a room of everyone from high school and answer the question, "So what are you doing now?"
I hate it. And so it makes complete sense to me that instead of going in there and doing that, Marco and CJ go to a motel and fuck.
Yes, but just prior to that, another green flag for Marco, which is that he, to kind of take CJ's mind off of things, says, Ben Enright, he was sweet. He tried to kiss me once. We love a man that is unthreatened by being come on to by a gay man.
Yeah,
We
truly.
love. Or a queer man, I should say.
I think that the choice of going to the motel was incredible from Marco.
Yes.
Just because, like, there isn't much else to do or say at this point. I feel like I assume there must have just been some mutual moment of like, should we just get a room for a few hours?
Yeah. Of like, we can't go back to my parents' house. We cannot go back to your dad's house. Neither of us live here.
Yeah.
This is just what we're going to have to do.
And the thing that's wonderful about it, and you feel like the whole way through, like, we're never going to hear about Marco ever again.
No. But
Because
we
Marco's
don't need to.
We don't need to.
He serves his purpose in the moment.
Because there's a mutual understanding between the two of them, which again is a very good writing, because you're not saying he was the one that got away.
No.
It's just like, we're going to just have a couple of hours of fun.
And you know what? Sometimes in a moment of crisis, you just need like an old friend to hook up with.
Yes.
Just to like get back in your body and feel connected to yourself.
Yeah.
When caring for my dad, I met up with an old high school friend who nothing ever would have happened with were it not for the very specific set of circumstances that were going on. But it was like a moment of me getting to be 24.
Yeah.
And just being like, I'm 24 and I'm hooking up.
Yeah.
And I feel like CJ just needs a moment of being like, I'm a hot single woman hooking up and I feel entirely safe because it's like an old friend.
And the perfect friend to choose was Marco.
Yeah.
Are you saying that you're one of those people who think like F. Scott Fitzgerald, their best years were 20 years prior?
Oh, God, no. I think the best day's got to be the next day.
Oh, I love Marco.
I love Marco.
Let's do this speech.
I'm
so
dead
glad
at I'm dead at the hello, I'm CJ Cregg name tag.
It's
It's so dark that like 20 years out from high school, you have to have name tags because you might not be able to recognize each other.
I know.
But then I suppose maybe it's just like an antisocial anxiety thing where you're like, I know you, but I can't come up with the name. And then it's like actually right there. But yes, she said, America is a terribly difficult idea filled with promise and impossible to live up to. Promise is inchoate and promise is what binds us. Some of us died. Some of us got sick. Some got rich. Some had bad luck. Some of us were fortunate more than others. But failed promise only truly fails when it leads to lowered expectations.
She's a great writer.
Which is someone who is recently single is an important reminder.
During this really gorgeous speech, during which, who walks through the door but Molly and Tal
and Libby
come to listen. Her phone rings and she has like take a call. And she's like, Toby, you better be joking. But there have, of course, been some car bombs that have gone off outside of US embassies in Asia. And like CJ just like has to leave immediately.
Which is so rock and roll. Can you imagine giving a speech at your 20-year high school reunion? You get a call and you're like, I serve at the pleasure of the president. I have to go.
The president needs me. So you'll never know how this speech ends because I need to leave now.
We then get a closing moment with CJ's dad where CJ's like, I have to go. And we like haven't figured out what we're doing. And her dad says, I mean, between the lot of us, there's surely one superior mind still working. I don't know whose.
Which is so funny.
It's so funny. And you're like, this is where CJ gets her funny from. I love that we're meeting everyone's parents. Let's meet Josh's mom next. I want to meet Josh's mom.
I do need to meet Josh's mom.
I need to meet Josh's mom. You just know that like he's her little prince. I want to meet Deanna. Why have we still not met Deanna?
I want to meet Toby's mum, who was married to a mobster. And raised Toby Ziegler.
And you know that she is also like Toby's My Little Prince, but in a very different way.
Yes. The episode kind of closes out with, so Tal gives his watch to Marco to take back to Paris to fix, which is a very beautiful moment. He's like, you can mail it back to me. And then the episode ended and I cried till I felt sick. And I'm never going to watch it again.
It feels like it's a sin of dementia. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Where you're like, that was beautiful. That was amazing. That's one of the most incredible pieces of television I've ever watched. I will never watch it again.
Truly. It would feel weird to do the quick fires for this one.
I didn't. I have left that section of the shared doc completely empty because I was in no place to do that, frankly.
Yeah. And it also would feel weird to just like shoehorn in a study session. But what we do have is some spoiler-free writer trivia from the Discord community.
Thanks, team. I really needed this. Thank you all for like turning up for this episode as well, because Leigh was messaging me being like, what could we talk about? And I was like, I am unfortunately tapped out for the rest of the evening dealing with watching this episode. So thanks for coming in.
And I will just say, Tessa on the Discord really came through for us in the biggest of ways. And Tessa, I feel, an often MVP of the Discord.
Yeah,
truly bringing the energy. But she did provide us with some very fun pieces of trivia. So this episode, one of only 2 or 3 episodes in the early seasons not written by Aaron Sorkin, specifically because he was running behind. So he asked a theatre friend to pick a character and write a play-like episode for them, as we previously mentioned. And he didn't really actually know the show that well. So he just got a bunch of episodes and kind of strung together what he could learn about CJ, specifically from watching the episodes. And the mention of her dad really caught his attention, which also piqued our interest when those scenes came up. Also, another piece of writer trivia, not directly related to this episode, but the only reason why Andy was ever written in to the West Wing is because Richard Schiff was like, I will not take off my wedding ring.
Oh my God, don't. Fucking hell.
So he was like, I will just be
That's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard.
So I will be wearing my wedding ring as Toby Ziegler. And this kind of like started to formulate ideas in Aaron Sorkin's mind. And he initially thought that maybe Toby would be a widower. He's crying about Richard Schiff not wanting to take off his wedding ring.
Fuck me. That fucking hell, mate.
Aaron Sorkin and Richard Schiff had a conversation about what the kind of backstory for Toby might be. And Richard Schiff, in a very Toby Ziegler response, said, that's kind of for you to figure out. Because Aaron Sorkin was like, I just don't know that like marriage makes sense to me for this character. So they wrote in an ex-wife who he was still deeply in love with. Also, the flashback scene from season 2 of Toby collecting CJ in California.
Yes.
Was originally written for Leo.
Interesting.
But Richard Schiff suggested that it would be better suited to Toby and CJ's relationship.
Yeah, agreed.
Which Tessa says, while I do agree with that, I love knowing that in the original idea, Leo was taking a flight to come get her. Which I do also love.
It's very Papa. It's very Papa.
Also, not so much trivia, but Tessa does point out, and Tessa's a very deep thinker, okay? But she's saying, given the timeline that we've now gotten for Toby and Andy's relationship, we now know that Toby and Andy were still married when he was day drinking and flirting with that woman at the bar.
Yes.
Which is interesting. It kind of speaks to maybe like the marriage was a little bit like on the rocks or like...
Yeah, the pressures that they were under and his response.
Yes.
You know, a negative response from him to their fertility journey as well.
Yes. Also, we have 2 curlers on our Discord. I forgot to tell you this, as in the sport curling.
Incredible.
2 separate people who are on curling teams. I'm obsessed with that as a fact. I love...
Leigh and I have a friend from university whose name's Chloe, and she's a lovely and wonderful woman. And she is the most passionate supporter of curling I have ever met. So we love to know that there's more curlers out there doing their thing.
Also, Tessa had previously pointed out something which I had forgotten to tell you. which blew my mind.
Yes.
At some point, Andy gives us the number of weeks pregnant that she is. So she's not quite at 12 weeks, or she's just reaching that milestone. Which means, and this blew my mind when Tessa pointed it out, that during 20 hours in America, she was 6 weeks pregnant. So if it was an unplanned thing, Toby probably wouldn't have known, so it wouldn't change anything. But there is the possibility that if it was through IVF, she was monitoring it closely and they'd already know by then. And Toby's in a weird mood that whole episode.
Yeah.
And then he has this sudden inspiration to help this dad pay for his kid's college. And it's if he's thinking that maybe he's actually about to be a dad.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Tessa's very smart, as I previously said.
See, this is one, very smart from Tessa, but also just the sort of shit that Richard would be looking into. Do you know what I mean?
as a dad himself.
Because the thing is, I think all of the actors in this show are fucking phenomenal. I think they're brilliant. But I love like when you can kind of tell like a little bit about someone's approach by the way that they perform. And like Richard Schiff, I see him as someone he's a researcher. He's like, I know what Toby Ziegler has done every minute of the day up to the moment that he's stepping into the scene.
Yeah.
Like I just see that as being his kind of vibe. So that to me rings true.
Yes. Also, famously, Aaron Sorkin is very specific about actors using his exact language. And apparently when the actor came in who plays Oliver Babish, he spent time editing his lines a little to kind of come closer to his own speech patterns and like be more how he wanted them. And then while he was in makeup, apparently he was warned that like under no circumstances can you do that with Aaron Sorkin's writing. And so he had to very quickly like rememorize the lines as they were written.
That's really funny.
Also, as a writer myself, I'm like, so you think you can do better than the screenwriter?
I think that's a crazy thing for that actor to do without asking first. I think if you're like, like I've been reading the script, I love it. Like dialectically, there's like a few lines that I'm like struggling to get my mouth around. Like, can I propose like just like a few tweaks, just like, so it kind of rolls off my tongue with like my natural accent. I think that then a writer would be like, cool, like what have you got, and we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But to be like, I've redone all of my lines so they work for me is very funny.
It's very my old acting coach coded.
Honesty. Yeah.
I was involved in a acting studio that was a little cult-like in my mid-20s, run by quite an eccentric acting coach who we wish the best for.
We do. We wish him well.
But would quite loudly eat yogurt while watching me do my scenes. Anyway, the only exception...
I've never watched a man eat yogurt with such gusto, honestly. The amount of yogurt that you and I both saw him consume, because I worked for him briefly, I ran a few classes, and
no one was safe from the cult.
No one was safe. No one was safe. I just pound through like a full big pot of Alpra soya yogurt,
like a large one, not like an individual portion.
No. Anywho.
Anyway, but the only exception to the exactness with the language apparently was Marlee Matlin, who would feed back to Aaron when something didn't work in the rhythm with sign language. And so she would adjust things so that she with sign could fit the rhythm of the show. And so she was the only one that was encouraged to say, can we change it to this?
Yeah, which makes sense when you're like coming at it from like an accessibility point of view.
Yes. And also from the perspective of like American Sign Language is a language that
Aaron doesn't speak.
Or doesn't
sign, you know. So like you're like, well, I'm writing something that's kind of out of my like personal experience, so it makes sense to go to an expert in that thing.
Yeah. And then when you watch Marlee Matlin in the show as Joey Lucas, I feel like she is signing in the rhythm that everyone is speaking. It's like dance. It's incredible. So there is a spoiler chat on our Discord where the patrons talk about spoilers that we're not allowed to know. And apparently there was a debate in the spoiler chat about whether or not to tell us this. But they decided that we needed to know. It's not strictly a spoiler because it doesn't end up happening.
Right.
But Aaron Sorkin's original idea for Andy's pregnancy was that she would die in childbirth.
Oh my God, Aaron. Fucking hell, mate. You can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when he pitched that as the arc for that character.
Yeah.
And then obviously she'll die in childbirth.
Yeah.
And just the room being like, okay. Just talk us through that one, buddy. Just talk through the thought process there, because that's
And apparently,
comfy.
When Kathleen York, who plays Andy, found out she was going to be pregnant with twins, she was like, well, they can't make me die in childbirth because that would be so cliche with like a high-risk pregnancy.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you, Kathleen. You're such an icon. We're obsessed with you. So yes, thank you so much to MVP Tessa for all of that trivia. I really enjoyed personally. Also, DJ on our Discord was also talking about how Aaron Sorkin, when interviewed about his writing, was talking about how it's like music, and he just like creates a rhythm in the way of song lyrics, which is very man. I feel like a man,
isn't it? I love him. He's so toxic, but also amazing. Like I just, you know, when you're like, oh, it's good to have flawed heroes. You know, like
fully.
I would be undone. Like if I went and like it was like an evening with Aaron Sorkin, like I would be so in awe. But also I'd just be like, I kind of love how much of a messy bitch he is as well.
Also, K-Robe on Instagram submitted their trivia, which is that there was a rumor going around in the early days of Gilmore Girls that ASP, who wrote Gilmore Girls, wasn't real, and it was actually Aaron Sorkin's pen name.
Oh my God.
And he was secretly writing the show.
Because the women talk so fast and with such rhythm.
Yes, because the writing is like music, which I love.
That's so funny.
Emily also bringing up that Toby essentially forced Aaron Sorkin into writing him an X, which we love.
I can't even think about that. I'm so sorry. I don't know why.
It undoes you.
That moves me.
Also, L. Monkby on Instagram wanted to let us know that in season 3, episode 3, Josh famously mentions that when he was 4, he wanted to be a ballerina, which is one of my all-time favorite moments of the show. And then later, CJ greets Josh by calling him Giselle, which is obviously the name of a famous ballet.
Yes.
Which shows us that Josh immediately knows that Sam has gone and told CJ that he wanted to be a ballerina when he was 4.
And so Sam should have done.
And CJ has loved that idea so much that she has immediately made a joke about it to Josh's face.
Incredible.
Also, apparently, according to Bethany, there is a romance author whose pen name is Bailey Seaborn because she loves The West Wing so much.
Icon. I'm going to be looking into this individual.
Who does Christian Slater's play?
What? I don't know why I've never put those two things together.
What?
So Christian Slater is a very well-known actor.
Mm-hmm.
He is Jack Reese.
Mm-hmm.
How have those two things not made connection for me before now?
Okay, so I think potentially we have a slight spoiler in this piece of trivia that's been sent in the case of Jack Reese, but I've read it now, so you have to know as well, which is apparently Christian Slater's character, Jack Reese, was meant to have a lot more screen time expanding on the Donna romance, but apparently Christian Slater was, quote, such a pain in the ass that Aaron Sorkin rewrote the script to take him out.
Oh my God, I love that.
So I guess we won't be seeing a huge amount of Jack Reese going forward, which is hugely disappointing for Donna, but here we are. Okay, James has come through with the real goods. James has said, it's rumored that Aaron Sorkin helped Tom Hanks write his acceptance speech for Philadelphia, which includes a line about the streets of heaven being too crowded with angels, which was reused in 20 Hours in America. That speech was then possibly ripped off by Theresa May, who said at the Tory conference, "It is when tested the most that we can reach deep within ourselves and find our capacity to rise to the challenge before us. We may well be limitless." What I will say is what Theresa May has done there is taken some beautiful language and absolutely butchered it.
I had read that Tom Hanks piece of trivia.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I love a world in which Aaron Sorkin is like popping round to the Hanks household and being like, let's just spitball some ideas about the speech, Tom, because you should have something in your pocket.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like Tom Hanks is like pouring him a coffee and being like, I don't know, this whole thing's like, it's a great movie and I'm proud of it, but I don't know, like the awards and everything. I don't know what to say.
Tom Hanks would actually be like such a good fit for The West Wing. It's like slightly strange to me that he was never in it, but I guess he was just such a massive superstar that he maybe wouldn't have done TV.
Because like if you think about when that show started, like, when it first aired, that's like at the height.
It's at the height of Tom Hanks.
Yeah, as like heartthrob leading man.
One of the few men who hasn't been taken away from us.
Yeah.
By scandal.
I watched Castaway for the first time quite recently. Actually, it's just a film that I've never got around to watching. And was like, well, this is amazing. Mm-hmm. And then, not that long ago, I also watched Captain Phillips. Mm-hmm. And like, towards the end, those of you who have watched the film, there's just, I mean, it's perfect acting the whole way through. But like, you really get Hanksed at the end. Mm-hmm. And I was like undone by his performance. And me and my partner just sat there being like, well, this is what he does.
Yeah, I'm sure that Castaway, I can imagine Castaway making your partner specifically feel quite unwell.
Yes. I love Tom Hanks.
And our forever favorite piece of trivia from Hania, that Donna was meant to be one of a group of EAs, a la Bonnie and Ginger. Mm-hmm. But Janelle Maloney was just so persistent and had such incredible chemistry with Bradley Whitford that she turned herself into a main cast member. Which also I'm like, okay, without Donna, when we're talking about like leading females in the show, we would really only be talking about CJ. So like that was definitely like necessary that happened, I feel.
Agreed. And I also think that without the support of a character like Donna, CJ wouldn't have had the development that she's been able to have.
Yeah.
Because you're putting a lot of, I hate this phrase, but like female storytelling into just that one character.
Totally. All of the woman stories would have to go through CJ, which would just be a lot to put on someone who also has like other characteristics as a character.
Yeah.
Besides being a woman. Mm-hmm. Thank you all so much, dear listeners, for sending us in fun trivia as a remedy to the emotional devastation that was The Long Goodbye. We will be back with business as usual next episode. We presume, but obviously we don't actually know what's coming next. Thank you for also sending in that trivia in a timely fashion, because we had not realized until we actually sat down to watch the episode ready to record that like it was not going to be possible to speak about it in the way that we speak about all the other episodes. So actually, dear listeners, if you'd flag for us when those episodes are coming up, that would be incredibly useful.
Yes. We love a little kind of like, just so you know, trigger warning for us. I didn't know what to expect, and it really took me by surprise. So thank you. I have had a really swell time in the second half of this app.
We are Queer Gals Watch. Wherever you get your socials, please consider telling a friend about the podcast.
Popping it in a group chat.
Popping it in a group chat. Saying to your pal, I know I've recommended The West Wing to you 9 million times, but like, what if there was some fun queer gals to watch it alongside? Mm-hmm. Also, I think I would like to close by just reading one of my favorite messages that we have received recently from a listener, which I think also might just brighten your day, Fi. Especially after our dark study session last week. Mm-hmm. This is from someone who recently joined the Patreon. Hey, Leigh and Fi, I'm about 4 episodes into season 4, and I had to stop and let you know how much I thoroughly enjoy your show. I've been a listener since day one, and it's been so much fun. I've listened to most of the West Wing watch-along podcasts, and they're all great, but yours has a little something else. I'm a big fan of the West Wing. It premiered the same month I started college, and that likely has something to do with it. As a mid-40s straight white man, I likely fall right into the key demographic for the West Wing, but maybe not so much your podcast. I was raised very conservative in the American South, but I've swung pretty far to the other side of the social and political spectrum as I've gotten older. I've watched The West Wing for years through my own ever-changing eyes, but I wasn't prepared for how much fun it would be to ride along as you two experience it for the first time. Add to that how different your life experiences have been to mine, and it's all the better. I've never known anyone who has a similar emotional reaction to this show as I do. I know when you are tearing up because chances are I'm already crying in my car as I listen. I love laughing when you make an absolutely wrong prediction about an upcoming storyline or sitting jaw-dropped as you nail something that's coming up in the next episode. You bring something new to the West Wing that I didn't know I needed. Thank you for all that goes into putting this podcast together and for making something truly special.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, with that in mind, Leigh, shall we meet up again next week?
Yes, let's meet up again next week. Bye.
Bye.